Thank you all for coming. Appreciate it. I believe we have a quorum, correct? 5 people? We're all set? Excellent. There,
Mr.
Yes.
Chairman, may I make a statement before we begin the meeting?
absolutely.
All right. So tomorrow is February 18th, the 74th anniversary of the breaking up of the Pendleton and the rescue of 32 of 33 seamen by the 36-500. I just wanted to call that to the town's attention, to committee's attention, that we should keep in our thoughts and prayers all those who go to sea and risk their lives so that we can be better as human beings for what they do. And especially remember the crew, captain and crew, the Bernie Weber and crew of the 36-500 who braved unbelievable odds to go out and rescue and succeed in rescuing the crew of the
And
Pendleton.
make it back in, absolutely.
So, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you for acknowledging it. I didn't realize the anniversary was happening. Did everybody read the minutes? Yes? Any comments, any corrections? No? Motion to accept the minutes?
So moved.
Scott made a motion. Second? Bill?
Sure.
Second, Bill. Thank you very much. I just want to start with a quick thing about the couple that lost their life. Well, certainly the one who lost her life and the man who's probably joined her. They went in the water literally a half mile from my grant. And, I've had some really risky situations out there myself, and I've been in trouble walking on dry sand out there. And it hit me pretty hard that these people actually lost their lives out there, and it's affecting myself and all the growers out at Boat Meadow ADA. And I just like to take a moment and acknowledge the fact that I'm sorry they're gone. I didn't even know these people, but it's really affected myself and the rest of the growers out there. So I'm a little broken up tonight, and I had a bad experience lately. So anyway, thanks accepted. Comments, announcements. Scott, did you have any comments about the Mill Pond study? You went to the meeting last month?
Yeah, and I think we've got that coming up in the,
As an agenda item, yep.
yeah, number
Okay.
7, the agenda.
Okay, just checking. All right, you don't want to add anything now. Anything from public? No, okay. Agenda item, looks like,
Been a tough winter in a lot of ways.
yes, it has.
A lot of lives lost in our industry and along the shore.
Next item is Orleans Pond, is it OPC Celebrate Our Waters? John Dugan, you're on the air. You're here by Zoom. Would you like to announce yourself and tell us what's up?
He's on his way in.
Okay, oh.
Hi, can you hear me now? I'm unmuted.
Yes, John, thank you.
Let me.
John, how do you pronounce your last name? Is it Dugan or Dugan?
Dugan.
Dugan, thank you. This
Yes.
is Craig.
Hi, thank you for inviting me and for giving me the opportunity to speak to the group. My name again is John Dugan. I'm with I'm on the board of the Orleans Pond Coalition. And it sounds like you're familiar with that. The OPC has been around for 23 years, supporting efforts to protect and improve our fresh and saltwater bodies. For 14 years, we've offered an event called Celebrate Our Waters. Last year, it usually was in September. Last year, we expanded it to be over several weekends so that we could increase our reach. One of the events the purpose of Celebrate Our Waters was to raise public awareness about water quality, how we can protect it, how we can improve it, mostly focusing on excess nutrients, which is certainly at the top of the list of issues that affect our waters. And we try to do it in sort of a fun and engaging way. And one of the events that we do that we've split off to do in June is what we call Fun Tent. It's really directed towards families and families with children to kind of build environmentalists at an early age. And so what the idea behind the tent is that we combine sort of fun arts and crafts activities for children, but also invite aligned and partners and groups that are also advocate for the quality of our waters and our environment. And so this year, the theme is actually we protect our waters so that we can protect the animals that live in and rely on our waters. And so one of the key components in the web of life in our saltwater is our shellfish, and as well as finfish. And so I would like to have the Shellfish Waterways Committee support a table, which was done last year. Suzanne Phillips headed that effort last year. It was very popular and very positively received by the folks who came to visit the tent. It was a good opportunity to tell them about the work that is done by your group, and also bring awareness about the shellfishing industry, the importance of fishing and in New Orleans. And I think you can design this in any way around the message that you would like to communicate. You could, it could focus on how water quality impacts the shellfish that live in our waters, particularly nitrogen overload. You could certainly talk about the fishing industry and that status of that, or also the critical role of fish in the biodiversity of our waters. I actually had an email exchange with Phil yesterday, and she had mentioned that she was hoping to go to the meeting tonight, and she could talk a little bit about the specifics of what she did last year to put together her table. But it was really a lot of fun, and the kids had a great time. She brought a small tank of salt water and had clams and mussels and some oysters in there, and the kids thought that was great. She brought shells and some shellfishing tools and implements, which people got created some interest. And also, I think she brought information about how folks can get permits to do their own clamming if they wish in Orleans. But I'm hoping that you guys can do that again this year. We have a table reserved for the group to come and join us. There's a whole variety of other nonprofits that will be there to talk about other aspects. Dolphin Rescue, we're going to have IFAW will be there, Center for Coastal Studies, New England Cultural Wildlife Alliance will be there. The Marine and Freshwater Quality Committee is also going to have a table and talk about herring runs and the status of herrings in that Pilgrim Lake herring spawn site. So that's really just what I wanted to do, just to give you an idea about this table, and I think probably Phil can give you the best feeling of what's involved to get it to put it together.
Sounds great. I know that Suzanne and also Kyle was there last year, and they both had a great time, and they said it was really well attended, and had some really favorable comments about it. What's the date?
I'm sorry. It's going to be Saturday, June 20th. So if we don't get too much more snow, kids will be out of school.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I've seen snow in June. You never know.
And so it'll be 10 in the morning till 1 in the afternoon. So not too early. People won't have to get out of bed.
Was it
before the
10
sun's up.
to 1?
10 to 1
10
o'clock. Yep. And it's going to be at Depot Square, right on Old Colony, across from the Sparrow. So hopefully we're going to get a lot of foot traffic and people wandering by from the rail trail and the farmers market, and come over with their coffees from the Sparrow and check out what we've got there.
Sounds great. Suzanne is no longer a member of our committee, but she may be willing to participate this year. We'll ask her kindly, see what happens. And I'm sure we can find somebody else from the committee to participate. It sounds like a fun time. If I can make it, I'll be there. So great.
Wonderful. That's great news. I really appreciate your support. This really helps out.
You're celebrating our waters. We like our waters.
We love them too.
That's right. All right. Anything else?
That's it. Thank you.
Any comments from the committee? No? Very good. Thank you very much, and we'll see you soon. We'll be in
Okay,
touch.
good.
Thank
I'm
you,
gonna
Mr.
sign
Dugan.
out.
Thank you.
Bye now.
All right.
You still got the tank, Phil?
Good. We can talk about that upcoming. I'll send out an email just to see if I can get a volunteer from the committee. If not, I can do it myself. I don't really care. It's fine. Next up, 72 Tonsett Road. I wrote something out here because I don't want to flub in the middle of this. Let me see if I can get it here. Okay. So, at the special town meeting, which was held on October 28th, 2024, Article 11 proposed the purchase of 72 Tonsett Road. Much discussion ensued regarding several options on how the property could be utilized, period. Select board members, members of the public, and 3 of our committee members all offered ideas with the overwhelming majority in favor of access to Town Cove, water access. Since that meeting, this committee hasn't heard a word from the powers that be on what the future plans may be. I'd like to propose that the select board the appointment of a task force to determine said usage. I would also strongly suggest that at least one of our committee members be assigned to that task force. I'm looking for support to print a letter to the select board in favor of this proposition. That's my request tonight. Are we in favor of sending a letter to the select board saying, hey, we want to have some input into the property that we kind of fought so hard for at town meeting? I know 3 of us got up and said, hey, this is a really good idea. Bill,
Yes.
Scott, Phil, I mean, 3 heavy hitters in town. Dave certainly thought you were a heavy hitter. I think we have some input to offer, and I'd be offended if they didn't include us. I'll put the letter together. Before I send it, I'll be more than happy, of course, send it to you guys with your approval. I'm just looking for permission to go ahead and do that.
What is the plan for there?
We don't know. Do we know?
Oh, okay.
That's what, may I have the floor?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Mr. Chairman, this has taken a long time for the town to evolve to the point where it feels it can move forward with some plans. And hopefully it won't be too much longer. But I
Have you
think,
been in touch with somebody about it?
pardon me?
Have you been in touch with somebody about it?
I've talked to people unofficially
Okay,
about it.
fine.
But and I'm in favor of what you're offering to do, especially having members beyond this
At least one member.
committee, right, that would be discussing the ultimate use of the property. The first thing I would suggest we do, though, is inquire formally as to where they are.
Absolutely.
Determining use.
Yep.
And then, after they respond, we make clear to them that however that process is going forward, we want to be included in it ultimately.
In essence, that's what the letter will say.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, that's fine. Very much in favor of
Okay.
coming to some understanding about the use. It was pretty controversial and, yeah.
Well, there was go ahead, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'll step back to the meeting. It was stated by town hall that if it wasn't gonna be developed, then it was gonna be resold.
That was a possibility. I watched the video last night, and that was brought up as a possibility. It could always be resold at a profit, of course, and then it'll be subdivided, which they're trying to avoid. I don't get it. Can it be subdivided? I don't even know how much acreage it is.
Yeah,
It's a little more than 2 acres.
but I doubt it would be subdivided.
The way the house is
The
situated,
whole thing.
yeah, the way the house is situated. I mean, they could maybe put a ADU on it. There you go. But who knows?
Correct me if I'm wrong, it was stated originally that house was gonna be used for summer help.
That was one of the first suggestions that we heard, and it was kind of, I don't think it was official, but I heard that out of
It was thrown
a
out.
town officer's
Part of the
mouth.
discussion.
Yes,
Really couldn't, because you'd have to bring it up to code.
there you
So
go.
far to date, I think we've got, what, 8 kayak racks down there,
One rack, yeah,
and that's it.
One rack holding eight vessels. I don't know, is it 8 vessels?
and I think it's,
Yeah, okay. Watching the video, I was at the meeting, but watching the video, it reminded me that 85, maybe 90% of the comment was in favor of access to the water. And that was from selectmen, that was from our committee members, that was the members of the public. There was a few dissenters who were like, what are we gonna do with this property? Do you even know? We bought other property in town, it's not being utilized, what's going on? So there's definitely people's, $2.5 million, which in this day and age, that's not a lot of money. I mean, it's a lot for me, but, for the town's been spending how many millions of dollars every meeting? It's crazy. So it's just another drop in the bucket. And it was free cash, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I'm having a hard time with this.
There is no free cash.
I want some free cash. That's what it is. That's what it was listed as. It was, the purchase was under free cash. I know. So anyway, I'm upset that they haven't come back to this committee and said, hey, do you have any ideas as to what we can utilize this property for? Because, like I said, the vast majority was in favor of access to the water. So
Craig, you're gonna draft a letter and let us see
I'll do
it,
that. Yeah, sure.
and then we'll comment on it? and
Sure.
Vote on it?
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. I just want to vote, even just an okay. I don't even need a formal vote, but an okay from you guys. Can I go ahead and draft the letter?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Do we need to make a motion? No. I don't think- Phil, is that a motion
On
option?
the final, on the letter,
Yes.
You'd wanna-
Okay, great. Perfect. All right, great. And I'm going to ask you guys for some input. Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it. Natural resources, Nate.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
What are the big ones going on? Well, certainly the construction at Rock Harbor, and the construction at Goose Hummock. The weather's not been our friend this winter. Waiting for a melt to happen here, specifically both projects, but more so it's impacted the Rock Harbor project from us pouring the concrete. And, they tarped over the rebar and all the forms for that, that pour. But we're just waiting for the ice to melt off it and then, rinse it down and have a window of temperature here. Looks like we should be able to get it next week, where we can get some concrete going.
Monday looks a little iffy.
Yeah.
Is it
How's
just air temperature they're worried about, or is the temperature of the water surrounding the tubes that need to be filled? Is that an effect?
Not the tubes, this is the deck cap. And
Oh, okay, gotcha. Sorry.
you can blanket the top, you can't blanket the bottom, right? So
Okay, right,
You gotta have heat both under and over.
right. Yeah, okay, right. I knew that. Sorry.
we're still confident. It's not any issues with us being ready for the season. It's just, we had hopes of being done at the end of March with the project, and we're waiting on weather here, but, we're making such significant process, at one point that, we were hopeful that we were gonna be done. It went together really fast until the weather kicked
Yep,
in.
yep.
Goose Hummock, I had a meeting with that team this morning. We're gonna be installing the clapper valve in Jeremiah's gutter, the pour the cap on that sheet metal. There was a major obstruction when they were driving the sheet along the boat ramp. It was a boulder, 4 or 5 foot size boulder.
Stone Rock too.
Yeah, that they had to get out of there, and in order to get it out of the ground, they had to, cut the asphalt on the boat ramp, so there's a repair on the boat ramp that'll have to happen, right when, as a kind of a finishing touch to the project. That'll basically just be saw-cut asphalt, removal of the concrete in the footprint of where they excavated, and then a pour in place, concrete doweled into the existing concrete, so that uneven settling doesn't happen, and then asphalt over that. But it looks like April 15th, we should be out of there.
Great.
Nauset Beach South, the over sand trail, that thing's been closed since we got whacked with the snow. And I know people, there's always the diehards that they want to drive out there this time of year, but we just don't have the emergency response capabilities if someone does get buried out there. And it always seems to be the snow this time of year that causes the issues out there. So between the ice and the amount of snow and the flooding that occurred on the back trail, when the tides were sizable when we had the ice, it just doesn't make sense until everything melts out. You might have noticed in surrounding harbors, I had a meeting last Monday with Senator Sear and state reps and neighboring harbor masters about ice breaking capabilities and the inability for the Coast Guard to get their vessels into our harbors and to break the ice on a regular basis. So it was decided that the county would hire Robert Auer and go into the most critical harbors on the bay side specifically, that would be Sassuat Harbor, where they're trying to keep the county dredge running, and, you know, it's been shut down and locked up in ice for weeks now, and they were already on a really tight schedule, you know, because of the time of year restrictions for dredging. Everybody needs to dredge at the same time, and, you know, being held up by ice just doesn't work for that schedule. So they were able to get the ice breaking boat in there and clean up the harbor pretty good. It sounds like the county dredge is gonna get running. If it's not already running, it'll be running again soon. I went into Well Fleet, broke that up. It was on the table for me. I decided not to bring that into Rock Harbor. Just practicality wise, with the ice sheet that was out on the, you know, on the flats outside of the harbor, going out literally a mile.
3 feet thick.
Yeah, I went down the harbor today. I mean, it's a couple feet thick.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure. I think you know, we just need Mother Nature to cooperate, and we need a slow melt. We don't need, you know, and I'm not sure it would have benefited me by having icebergs smashing around if we get a wind event or anything. As long as that ice sheet's going up and down and uniformly, I think we're gonna be in better shape than if we had brought them in, because it wasn't gonna stay open anyways.
Right. I mean, it's moved. I've been following satellite, real-time satellite imagery for the last 2 weeks or so. Just pretty much every 4 days, I go on the click. I click it on, and you can just see the ice goes. I mean, I'm concerned because it's covering my, you know, all of Boat Meadow 88 is under ice. Well, actually, it moved. But for the last month, it's been like, the ice just goes back and forth and back and forth, but down. It just stays in that corner. It just stays and stays and stays. Like, just go away, please. Bill, question about ice breaking. We've been very lucky in the last at least 15 years or so.
Decades.
Yeah, we really haven't had a need for
Yeah.
ice breaking. So what do you do in the past? I'm trying to
What do you
remember.
do in the past? In the past, when we had cold winters, 70s, 80s, even into the 90s, we had a 44-footer down in Chatham, 2 of them, that were steel. Not the ultralight, high-speed jet boats that they use today for rescues. Those boats were retired, as you all know. One of them is sitting in front of the Coast Guard station now. They were there, and they would keep the harbors open by breaking up the ice.
Interesting.
And it was a challenge, you know, you had to
Sure.
really be careful coming in and out of the harbor, but once you were outside of Aunt Lydia's and down past CBI, you were usually okay.
Yeah.
Just a different era, you know, and different time.
Curious.
Yeah.
All right.
No problem. Besides that, I mean, I'm ramping up for the summer season, believe it or not. I'm recruiting seasonal employees, sending out hiring packets, and kind of building my team for the summer already.
Good.
It'll be here before you know it. But, you know, like I always say, I'm not thinking of, the herring run, not much has changed since the last meeting. You know, we got the flow data. With that information and based on an anomaly year, hopefully, obviously there was, you know, very, very little flow with the drought conditions that we experienced last summer. So we're going to keep those monitoring stations in place, continue to record flow data through the spring. The herring are going to be here before you know it. I mean, real soon, right? And
Where are the stations, Nate? So for people who don't know.
there's one up by the road going in Herringbrook, and there's one up by the Penn boards.
Okay.
Yeah. We're monitoring groundwater infiltration. We got a well right in Scott Johnson's yard that was driven, and just kind of watching what the groundwater does to that
Interesting.
as well.
Right.
The way they put it, you know, there's a lot of,
There's the meadow between the creek and the house.
say that again?
The meadow between the creek and his house, his driveway.
The meadow?
It's like
Yeah. It's basically in their
Marshall.
driveway, right up tight to the,
Okay.
to the brook.
Okay.
Pat Johnson was gracious enough to, you know, bear with us while we set that in there. And,
Nice.
we're gonna have the same situation we did last year. Right now, the pond's critically low still, right? It better rain soon. This snow's not gonna do it for us. No. It sounds like based on, you know, we're going into 30% design at this moment. That's when you trigger permitting and you start going into the permitting. You jump through those hoops to make sure that what you have designed is permittable and you can get the permits, and then you close the final design. It's taken long. I mean, you know, we received $1 million grant from the federal government. Then we realized that we have a conduit, you know, a culvert under the road that's gonna be tying into, all three other projects, sewering, water, and then, stormwater remediation. And we wanna do it all at once. So we went back to the federal government, they gave us another $1 million for the culvert and that work. So we got $2 million on this project, so.
That money in our coffers?
Yes. So, but the process isn't like you would be doing it with your own dime, and, it's not as fast. You've got to kind of go through the process, which can be frustrating, but they gave us the money.
When you say 30%, you're talking about from the start to the finish of the project, we're at 30%.
30% design.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna go in front of the marine and freshwater quality next Monday. They want an update on where we're at. And I reached out to our engineers to see if I can get just a kind of a timeline. I think that's what everyone wants at this point. When are we looking at construction? Even if it's tentative, I need more information than, we're gonna be able to. What people really want, including myself, is to kind of paint a picture of what this is gonna look like. What does this project look like? And it's not gonna look like concrete jungle. It's going to be a very natural system, probably using natural rock, some concrete to fix it in place, and then like coconut fiber rolls to retain, the erosion, and to narrow the banks in, and then planted. But the only way to do this is to dump equipment into the run and work in the run the whole time, right? You can't work from the sides. So there's complexities, there's access issues. We're gonna try to minimize easements if needed, but, the people that deserve to have the conversation as we get closer are the neighbors and the abutters that are gonna have to cooperate and allow us to do the work. So I know everybody in the neighborhood's anxious to hear, for an update. One of the next steps, once we get closer to design, we're bringing in Brad Chase from Division of Marine Fisheries. He's gonna look at the 30% design, give his input, and then we're gonna bring in the neighbors and show them, and it's not just the neighbors, the public. We'll have a public meeting where we'll gather opinion and make sure that what we're doing is on the right track for what the town of Orleans wants to see in their
That was
hearing.
a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Nate, this may be too early to be talking about this, or maybe it's already established, but because of the lowering of the water levels in general, and the seemingly insatiable need for water from our single-source aquifer, which lowers the pressure of the water that pushes up against our ponds and lakes, is it possible in the design of this system that we deepen the existing creek level so that we have deeper water? Even if we didn't have more water, it would be deeper?
There's definitely gonna be dredging involved.
There is.
Absolutely.
I am very happy to hear that, because I had the feeling it wouldn't be.
Yeah.
But I'm glad to hear.
Not the entirety of it, right, as
But
needed.
we all know where the shallow spots were, that even when there's a good amount of water flowing through it, there's hardly enough to cover the herring's back.
Right, so one of the things that's going on this month is that we're gonna be taking core samples of the sediments to make sure that, we know what they are, so we can handle the spoils, right? So, you just have to check all those boxes before you can assume that it can just be trucked off somewhere. I don't see any reason why it's gonna be any hazardous by any means, but, yeah, that's because of the intention that dredging is a component of
Thank you
this.
very much.
It's complicated.
Would it be a wet dredge like we're accustomed to with a pipe that goes into the parking lot, or?
No, I don't think it would be hydraulic, it would be mechanical.
Okay, yeah. Question, oh, go
We're
ahead.
gonna line the sides with stone? Because of that sugar sand over there.
No, the sides,
and
well,
everything is-
combination, right? So you got some bends, you got some places where you want to put pools for staging, right? So that the fish can have a place to settle down and not be fighting the current. But there's going to be, if stabilizing the banks, picture on a smaller scale, what they use like along the shoreline where, it's basically those rolls.
Yep.
Then you put,
Take them.
plants into it, seedlings.
That I'm not worried about. It's water level and down. If we're gonna maintain even 12 inches deep.
Right.
If you don't have something along the sides, that sugar sand with moisture, round table, it's just gonna find a low spot,
You have differing
silt itself.
sediment styles there too, because you have upland directly adjacent to the run, and you have swamp, marsh, a swampland right next to it. So it's difficult for sure.
Once you get up and hit the flat, it's still sand.
Yeah, plus you have other water coming in from
That's
other
the, you know,
other
there's
areas.
a significant, right now, the whole thing's penned up. There's no, very little source from Pilgrim Lake feeding into the run. And it's all groundwater, right? So you're relying on some of that groundwater infiltration
Definitely.
to maintain your water level, so,
Yet there's still a good flow at the road.
right.
So it's all groundwater.
If it wasn't as complicated as it is, I'd probably be able to describe it better, but, you know, having these scientists and hydrologists kind of crunching all that data, basically on an extremely low, I mean, I've always said, I think it's a best-case scenario. Yeah, it's a terrible situation to have, you know, such a bad year for drought, but to be engineering off of the worst-case scenario, hopefully, basically rations every drop of water that we need to,
What we got.
yeah.
Curious, how the neighbors react to this? Are they all pretty much in favor?
Been great.
Good,
You know,
great,
that-
great.
To my point earlier was that they deserve to hear, you know, as soon as we have information to provide to them, they should be the first ones that we reach out to.
A few of them showed up at town meeting, and they all seemed very positive towards the project. Just curious. All right, anything else?
I don't think so, but I'm
Any
open to
questions for me?
questions.
More questions? Any questions from the audience? Okay, well, that was quick.
Well, I mentioned one other thing, and I attended a meeting with other Shellfish constables last week. Phil was on the meeting, and there's a incentive with other towns in the community, in the region to look into, basically cost benefit analysis of propagation efforts with cohogs and mortality studies, to look at, the best size cohog for propagation, cost versus mortality, every town kind of taking a look at the similar what we're doing. But, my thing is, I'm not overly confident that it's gonna be a one-size-fits-all kind of thing where, it's gonna come out that R8 size or 10 to 14 millimeter or whatever it is for the half-inch size cohog is the best size for the money for propagation efforts, and it's gonna be a combination of netting versus no nets. Obviously, these things do way better under nets, but then you gotta look at the labor involved for large-scale propagation. But it's, even just in our town, it's so site-specific. Never mind, regionally, whether there's gonna be a uniform approach at, how to do this. It's been the challenge over the history of the Cape in terms of how to do it, the best way to do it, and the limitations on what the hatcheries can provide, and then, the costs of running your own upwellers. But it sounds like we'll get some information out of it, and, we'll be involved. The town's,
Good.
Wellington's gonna be involved.
Good. That's it. Thank you. Anybody else, comments? Thanks, Nate. Future agenda items. Owen Nichols has a open invitation to visit us and give us an update on his Pleasant Bay fisheries study. And I have a first report from that. I'm thinking, would y'all like a copy of this? It's just one, a few paragraphs. Would y'all like a copy of this before you leave tonight, so you have a heads up as to what he's, okay, great.
Is it online?
I don't know, to be honest, it must be, but I don't know where it came from.
Can we get it sent out to the committee?
Looks like Friends of Pleasant Bay. I'm not sure. I'll find out.
Yeah, I'd like to, either way. It's
Bill,
not,
I got this from you, correct? Is it available online? Friends of Pleasant Bay? Okay, all right, thank you very much. I can make copies if you want them tonight, so. It's just a few paragraphs. He was slated to come tonight, but he couldn't make it. He's a new father, and he's taking care of his little baby. So he said he'd do his best to be here next month, so look forward to it. He's a great guy.
What's he studying?
Okay.
It's been an ongoing study. I think he is continuing a study that started back in the 60s, 70s. I gave him a hand a few years ago doing some seine net samples of just whatever he has specific areas where he takes a 30-foot seine or 40-foot seine. Two people come out, dredge it back in, and see what you got. It's like this, but it's known areas. I believe this is a continuation of that, plus some boat dredge work, I believe. But That'll tell you right there, so. Mill Pond study. Can you give us a little heads up on that, Scott?
Yeah, Bill was there also. It was fairly well attended, I think. Everybody threw out different objectives, and basically the mill pond is, I wouldn't call it dead, but it's getting there. Obviously, we don't have the flow that we used to have coming in there. And they're gonna come up with different things to do, whether we aerate it, aquaculture. They had even talked about putting a dam around the whole thing. I talked.
A dam?
Yeah,
Barrier, right?
barrier.
I get a sense that they're talking about preventing flow from the groundwater.
Okay, because of nitrogen loading?
Yes, because of nitrogen loading. Yeah.
The permitting on that process would be unbelievable.
Yeah, sure.
I had brought up the fact, and I'll chime in now on the ADUs, which is a state, the governor came up with it to increase the housing for people, and Orleans just jumped on it. And my comment was, what are we actually trying to accomplish here? We're spending hundreds of millions of dollars on sewers in the next 40 years. Right now, anybody overlooking Mill Pond can throw a 900-square-foot structure up with a bedroom, have 2 people living in it, and tie it into the existing Title V system. So basically, if you had a 3-bedroom sewer system, septic system, and you had a 2-bedroom house overlooking Mill Pond, you could throw up another structure on your property,
With a single bedroom.
tie that in, and now we're just doubled our nitrogen load going into Mill Pond with the same piece of property. So I think that's something that's gotta be looked at. If you're on the new sewer line, have at it, have a ball.
Okay.
But we're just increasing our nitrogen level, and even the Title V sewer system, you look into the regs, that only decreases it by about 10% on your nitrogen level. So overall, I think we really gotta take a look at what we're trying to accomplish long-term,
Okay.
or we're gonna have some problems.
Can one of you two keep us appraised at our upcoming meetings as to what's going on?
I think if I've got time, at 10 o'clock Monday, the water quality,
Yeah.
I'll go there and public comment.
Okay, great, thank you.
Well, may I add a few?
Yeah, sure, good.
Scott did a good job of giving the overview. There were some specific things were brought up. Charlie Carlson spoke at length about the failure of the committee that was appointed to look into the project, because it was a funded project, to look at alternatives to the schedule that we currently are under, which will put us somewhere past 2060 before we'll see a sewer line run down Mill Pond Township Road. It's way out at any rate. And he was hoping that, and I forget what the acronym, Scott, is, but it's a state-leveled assumption of nitrogen loading in a body of water. And if you reach this level,
TMDL.
thank you,
Right.
TMDL, you are put on a faster pace for alternatives.
Have we reached that TMDL?
They want, well, Charlie was asking that we do a study to show what the TMDL level is, because currently we don't know. It's not part of what's
Oh,
been
okay.
researched.
Gotcha.
So he's looking to see that move forward. The committee actually came up with a really good summation of the project types that they researched, but they only recommended a very limited number of the 9, I think, the 9 alternatives. And one was the aquaculture. They're talking about putting oysters in grow out bags floating in Mill Pond in Roberts Cove. And they've been proven to be effective to a certain degree. Maybe a little bit heavy on the maintenance end of things, but as we know, we've learned from the Meeting House Pond project we've done here. And the other things that they'd looked into, they felt were simply out of the reach of the town to promote. And they were individual neighborhood-style systems that would collect in a region where there's a cluster of use. Because not all of the Nauset Heights and Mill Pond area is equally inhabited year-round, and some areas are a little more heavily. So anyway, the sense was that they didn't do enough to provide the information that we were hoping to get at. And I think those people who are most involved, Charlie's probably the lead on that, will come up with more ideas and more alternatives and try and push for additional funding to get the, what is it, MDL?
It's a target,
Target.
yeah, mean daily load.
That's it. I wish we could use words.
When the original study, sewer study came out, it was, just past the Mayo House, called Cedar Land was the break. Everything from Cedar Land east went to the ocean. Which doesn't include 50% of Mill Pond.
Yeah, that's right. That was interesting how that worked out.
Doesn't include it?
No, you know, they,
Now, this study, basically, if you pull down the Nauset Heights Road, when you peak the top of the hill, calling everybody on your left-hand side, going down to Fox Run,
No fine.
you'd shoot straight across through Cullen's property, hit my house, and everybody on the uphill side of Alden, all the way around, leach into Mill Pond and Roberts Cove.
Jeepers.
and the others go towards the ocean. So there was not an emergency kind of, I mean, to me, it seemed like, wow, how could you not be thinking that we got a sewer this neck, it's the neck of the woods?
Right.
If you look at the timing map that's available online, you'd be surprised, I certainly was, in fact, shocked at the areas that were left out. But after you talk to the hydrologist about what's actually happening under the ground, they know, they've been doing this research
Important to know,
for a
absolutely,
decade.
yeah.
So they have a sense of what's the most important, and those are the areas that they targeted for sewering. And now we're behind, you know, because I don't know if you guys are aware of it, but the phase that was going to include a Monument Road, from where they ended last year, just, you know, near the town hall end of Monument Road, all the way down to the ponds, to Crystal and Pilgrim, that was slated to happen this winter. Didn't happen.
You know,
Nothing done on that, so that's one major aspect of the project that didn't get done. And of course, that delays things that are on the other side, so.
And if we lose federal money, we're done.
And in the meantime, we have, you know, everybody's talking in this pond thing that we talked about at the very beginning of the meeting. They're all talking about loading up with the nitrogen phosphorus issue. But even in the neighborhoods where there's the most concern, in Mill Pond and Nauset Heights and Grandview Estates are included, continue to use heavy loading of fertilizers on their lawns in the summer. I mean, it's not even a small, like 10%, it's more like a third or better are using fertilizers still, as they complain that we're not getting anywhere with our cleaning of our waters, you know? It's very frustrating. And I really hope the Pond Coalition group this summer, when they do their program, emphasizes the need for the population to become educated on what we are doing and what we can do to leap over some of these issues and not wait for 2060, you know, when I'm gonna be 110 years old, to get our act together, you know? It's not, maybe it isn't the big chunk that we all wanna see. People talk about 8,
You
10,
need to start, you gotta start
12%.
somewhere, yeah.
It's a
Bigger fertilizer is
place
what,
to start.
7%?
Yeah, yeah, well, some people say that. I personally think it's a lot more than that, but
7% of influence,
The rate they put it down.
it's 7% of the nitrogen
of the overall nitrogen loading.
load, okay.
Yeah, but that's just, you know, there's a lot of ways of looking at this,
Well,
and,
the proximity to the water would
know,
affect.
Yeah.
and what exactly is getting absorbed by the
I
growth.
mean, look at the soil. Half
The
that's
other thing is
already planted.
you have to water if you fertilize. That's the other part of it. And we're running out of our water.
Oh, yeah.
And,
Let's build some more houses.
and now, another thing that had happened at the meeting, Scott, I don't know if you picked this up, but the chairman mentioned we will not be dealing with the issue of water conservation in the future as we have in the past. In other words, what he was telling us is there will be teeth in the regulations when it comes to watering your lawns. You know, we have rules now, but they're not enforced.
Right.
And he says they will be enforced in the future, and there has to be a reduction in the overall watering rates that we are seeing. And with every additional house that gets rebuilt and a new lawn put in, all the automatic that they put in the sprinkler systems, and they put them on timers, and you know, you and all, we've all been down the road in August when it's a thunder shower.
Yep.
And water is running down the road from the sprinkler system.
Yep, yep. It's interesting you should bring up the fertilizer. I was in Eastham tonight, and they, one of, an Eastham resident requested that the town enact the fertilizer. What was it? Remember the term that you used?
Ban?
Yeah. That's it. And she based, yeah. And she based it off of what Orleans has done
Yeah.
and what Wellfleet's done and what Truro is enacting.
Nantucket?
Well, they didn't mention Nantucket, but they were talking about surrounding Cape Towns, and
Yeah.
Eastham said, yeah, we can do that, so.
There's an article on the news tonight about Nantucket. The sewage system, places has got cocaine in it.
You're kidding. Now, who would be using cocaine on Nantucket?
No.
That must be a mistake.
Well, one way
Don't use the toilet.
in Connecticut, the town I was in, we got around the irrigation is that you had to pull a permit to put irrigation in, which should be done, because you need a plumber. Some of the stuff is pretty much plug-in, but
Sure.
you're tying into the water source at some point in time. And when it came for a new permit, we laid down the regs that they couldn't be within 20 feet of the town, of the street. So that knocked a bunch of them out, but the same thing here, that they made it, so you had to pull a permit for an irrigation, then you laid down the regs that we don't allow irrigation anymore.
Interesting.
Sadly, that's what it's gonna have to take, you know, if people would take put the bit in their mouth and do it on their own, we wouldn't be forced by government to be saddled with additional regulations, but sadly, they don't seem to get the hint until it comes down to them when there's a knock on the door and they're told there's a fine involved and you're watering your lawn while you are.
Right.
Now, nobody wants to see that, but it sounded to me like it might be happening.
One of the questions that the select board had in Eastham tonight was, how do you enforce, these bans? And the woman had no answer, because there is no answer, unfortunately.
Well, there is actually an answer, but you gotta pay for it. Eastham, nothing against Eastham, I love Eastham. I do, I really do. I love the people up there, and I love what they have. Sometimes I don't agree with their decision-making,
course.
but that always happens. But there is a way to do it. You have to enforce it, and you have to hire people to do the enforcing.
They were just questioning what that enforcement would entail, and she didn't really know, because I don't know if she's, I don't know, so I'm not gonna speak for her, so. So if you guys can keep us appraised, that'd be awesome. If there's a meeting that you think maybe we should attend and comment, let us know through email. That'd be awesome. If it's every meeting, I'll try and make them.
There's a meeting Monday with the water quality,
Daytime or nighttime?
10 AM.
I can't make that. That's not,
I sadly will be in Palm Springs, California at that time.
damn you, man.
Talking about a water shortage.
Hey, you wanna know what? They have more water out there right now than we do.
Wow.
In fact, it's pouring as we sit here in Sacramento right now, and the mudslides are starting.
Bring your waders.
Well, I don't think Palm Springs will have that problem, but yes, it's a dry desert country, there's no doubt about it. But it's warm.
Thanks, that was good, guys. I appreciate it. That was good comments. And another future agenda item is the dredging of Pawa. Can we speak about that, or do we have any comments, or just,
I can tell you something. I know there's a neighbor who lives, you probably have met him. He's been, I think, to two of our meetings. He lives on the right-hand side, about maybe 1,000 feet up from Pawa, as you're going down on the right-hand side. And he had a boat that he keeps on a mooring in the harbor, in a little Pawa pond. And he was telling us last year he's got to wait till at least half tide, and then he has to still hold his motor up because it's gotten so shallow in the channel. And it has a history of dredging, so the permitting will be considerably simpler than it would be, for instance, if we had done some of the other projects we talked about doing. And I hope that we can swing some kind of a dredging project in there. I think it can be done mechanically. Doesn't have to be dredged with
big concern is what to do with the spoils?
Dewatering.
yeah, you know.
We're gonna
you do-
bring in, so
You always do with them.
what we're gonna do is we're shooting for next month's meeting. We're gonna bring somebody in that knows all about the permitting and school us up. He worked for Chatham his entire career. He's an Orleans resident, and he's willing to, willing to help us navigate this this process and to kind of reel us in from what's realistic and what is, unrealistic in terms of what we can get done for dredging in Pleasant Bay.
He lives in town, right?
Yep.
When he was working for Chatham. And he was very enthusiastic about it, correct?
Also resource.
Wants to help.
Yeah, right. Good.
Yeah.
Yep, great.
That's great. I didn't know that.
Yep.
Next month.
Yeah.
That's all I have on our agenda. Any comments from anybody? I see we have someone on Zoom. Ben Wigren, do you have any comments?
Doesn't have his hand raised.
Okay, thank you very much. Motion to adjourn.
Boy, these meetings are so much slipperier than they used to be.
They must hate me, I don't know.
I'm telling you.
Motion to adjourn? Anybody?
All in favor?
Derek?
Yes.
Derek, motion to adjourn? Second? Someone's got a second. Buddy, second, excellent. All in favor?
It hasn't even been an hour. I can't believe we're just.
We could talk about some.